The 2021 Major League Baseball Draft is in less than a month from now. And in today's video, I'm going to do a 2021 MLB Mock Draft. Just less than a month away from the 2021 MLB Draft Day. Now, the Combine has not happened yet, but still, I think I have a good idea of who these teams might pick. So yeah, but before I get to this video, 88% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead and get your life together and hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get into this video. With the first overall selection in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, the Pittsburgh Pirates select Henry Davis, the catcher from Louisville. Henry Davis has a great arm, not to mention that he is a great hitter and has power as well. Henry Davis is definitely a player that I think could and definitely will be selected first overall. I don't think that Marcelo Meyer or Kahel Watson or Jordan Lawler or any of the shortstops on the board are really the greatest fit for the Pittsburgh Pirates, like I said in Monday's video. But yeah, I think that he had a tremendous season for Louisville last season. As far as his scouting report grades go, he's got a 55 hit, 40 run, obviously. He's a catcher, 45 field, 55 power, arm 70, and an overall prospect of 60. And we've seen prospects like catchers go very high in previous drafts, like Joey Bart and Adley Rutschman, who are top prospects right now in 2018 and 2019. And the exciting thing about this draft as well is that there's no consensus number one overall draft pick. It could be a lot of different players. It could be Jack Leiter here. It could be Marcelo Meyer. It could be a lot of different players here that could be drafted first overall. Maybe even Kumar Rocker. Who knows? But I doubt it. Last year at Louisville, he had a .370 batting average with 15 home runs and 48 RBIs. He was great last season at Louisville. Now, with the second pick in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, the Texas Rangers are on the board. And the Texas Rangers are going to select Marcelo Meyer, a shortstop out of Eastlake High School in California. He's a high school prospect. I do prefer college prospects more, but we don't have a ton on him. But there is a little bit of highlights to be seen with Marcelo Meyer. And this guy, to me, kind of compares almost like a Cody Bellinger as far as his stance goes, but a shortstop. Meyer's ranked the number one prospect on MLB.com. He's got a 60 hit, 50 run, 60 field, 55 power, and 60 arm, and a 60 overall prospect. And yeah, he is a really, really good player. He's going to hit for a high average. We're still looking to see what the power is going to be. And he is committed to Southern California, but will probably go to the draft. And he's kind of getting comparisons to Corey Seager as well. But Marcelo Meyer is going to be really good, and especially with the Rangers needing a shortstop for their future as well, this is a perfect fit for both sides. With the third selection, the Detroit Tigers are on the board, and they're going to select Jordan Lawler, a shortstop out of Dallas Jesus Prep in Texas. He's a shortstop, obviously, and he's another high school prospect here. A lot of high school prospects in this draft. He's committed to Vanderbilt, but will probably go to the draft. He's got a 55 hit, 60 run, 55 field, 55 power, 60 arm, and a 60 overall player. He's drawing comparisons to Bobby Witt right now, and who was the number 2 overall pick in 2019 by the Royals. And Lawler is a legitimate candidate to go at number 1, but I think he is at number 3 in this draft. I see him, he's like a Brian Hayes, but a shortstop. I just see a lot of Brian Hayes and Jordan Lawler, and he's going to be really, really good. He's good defensively, along with pretty good offensively too. Obviously, we don't have a ton of stats, just because he's a high school prospect. With the fourth overall selection, the Boston Red Sox are on the board, and they select Jack Leiter, a starting pitcher out of Vanderbilt. Jack Leiter had a great start the other night versus NC State. And Jack Leiter is been really, really good this past year, and he has seen his draft stock come up incredibly. He is a fastball curveball pitcher mainly, with a 70 fastball grade, 55 slider, 50 control, 60 curveball, 55 changeup, and a 60 overall player. And he was actually drafted back in 2019, but in the 20th round by the New York Yankees. The Yankees would still love to have him, but he went to college instead, to Vanderbilt. And he had a great season last year, putting up multiple no-hitters. He put up a no-hitter in his first start versus Duke last year. He had a phenomenal season for Vanderbilt, and the Vanderbilt team as a whole had a really good season, and it's not over yet. Last year, he was 10-4 with a 2.08 ERA. Absolutely nasty. And for the Red Sox here, this is an absolute dream pick if he's still on the board. Like, they would love to have Jack Leiter here. Jack Leiter is going to not take very long. I think it may only take him 1 or 2 years to be ready and be in Major League Baseball. And they are in really good position because he is the future ace of that team if they draft him. And he compares a lot to Sonny Gray, who was also a Vanderbilt star, and he pitches a lot like Sonny Gray as well. With the fifth overall selection, the Orioles made a reach last year, drafting Heston Kegerstead with the 2nd overall pick. They're not going to reach very much here, and maybe he even falls a little bit in some people's eyes, but it's Kahel Watson. Kahel Watson is out of Wake Forest High School in North Carolina, and Kahel Watson is currently at number 5 on my draft big board, as they call him. But he kind of compares to Jazz Chisholm, in my opinion. He's committed to North Carolina State, but he's probably going to go to the draft. 55 hit, 65 run, 55 field, 55 power, 55 arm, 60 overall prospect. He's just a really good prospect overall. Like, he does pretty much everything well. And he is really, really good. And I think that he definitely is a player that I don't think it would be crazy to say that he might get drafted 2nd or 3rd overall. Like, I could really see his draft stock jumping up closer to draft time. And it's pretty close to draft time now, but I still think he could jump up quite a bit for a lot of teams. Next, at number 6 overall, the Arizona Diamondbacks are on the board, and they're going to select Kumar Rocker, a starting pitcher out of Vanderbilt. And Kumar Rocker is a teammate of Jack Leiter's, and Kumar Rocker also had a very good season last year, and I made a whole video on Kumar Rocker. But I don't know why people are not mocking Kumar Rocker to the Diamondbacks here. He's the perfect fit, in my opinion, for the Arizona Diamondbacks. This year he was 13-3 with a 2.58 ERA. Last year back in 2019, 12-5 with a 3.25 ERA. He's been really good in his career, and the Diamondbacks need pitching, and I think that this would be a very good pick. For me, he kind of compares to a Marcus Stroman. I don't think that that's a great comparison, but that's kind of my comparison. As far as Rocker goes, he had a really good season last year, but his draft stock has fallen a little bit. He's got a 65 fastball, 70 slider. He's a fastball, slider, curveball type pitcher, 50 control, 60 curveball, 50 changeup, and a 60 overall pitcher. And he was the consensus number 1 for quite a while, but he's not that anymore. He's also pretty ready right now, and I think that he could definitely make an impact pretty soon for the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks are in absolutely no rush to win now. Next, with the 7th overall selection, maybe people consider this as a bit of a reach, but I certainly don't think so. And with the 7th selection in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, the Kansas City Royals select Harry Ford. He can play about anywhere from North Cobb High School in Georgia. And Harry Ford is very versatile, like I said. He is mainly considered as a catcher, but he can play just about everywhere. And there's literally no comparison for him because we don't really have much of a comparison for a guy so versatile and that is really good. And he's got a 50 hit, 60 run, 55 field, 50 power, 55 arm, and a 55 overall player. Now, I think that this would be a good fit for the Royals. Not only are you drafting kind of a utility man, but you're also drafting eventually Salvador Perez's replacement, who they really need. I know a lot of people have the Royals going pitching here. I don't really necessarily agree with that. They have a ton of pitching for the future, a ton of pitching in their farm system. And, I mean, one scout even compared him to, like, Craig Biggio. which is a pretty crazy comparison. But I still think that the Royals, maybe you can consider this as a reach, but I think that they would go with him at number 7. At number 8, the Colorado Rockies are on the board, and the Colorado Rockies, with the 8th selection in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, are going to select another Georgia high school player in Brady House, a shortstop from Winterboro High School in Georgia. And he's ranked as the number 7th prospect on MLB.com. He's got a 50 hit, 50 run, 50 field, 60 power, 60 arm, and a 60 overall player. Now, he did kind of disappoint last year with his hitting especially, and his hitting, though, still does have a lot of potential, and he still definitely could be I think he's going to be a really good hitter. And for the Rockies here, you're drafting your replacement for Trevor Story right here, which makes a ton of sense. You need to draft your replacement for Trevor Story because Trevor Story is not coming back there. And this would make a ton of sense. You get Brady House, who not only I think is going to be good, and please don't select Jackson Jobe here. I'm going to talk about that next, but yeah. With the 9th selection in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, the Los Angeles Angels select Jackson Jobe. He's a starting pitcher out of Oklahoma. He went to Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma. He's a pitcher, exactly what the Angels need, obviously. They drafted Reed Deadmeyers at 2020. He's already in Double-A now. He may take a little bit more time, but his slider is absolutely nasty. Over 3,000 RPM on his slider. He's a fastball slider type pitcher, but that slider is absolutely nasty. And when he comes into the major leagues, he will have the high spin rate for a pitch in Major League Baseball. 60 fastball, 50 control, 60 overall player, 60 changeup, and a 55 curveball. He is going to be really, really good, I think. I think that he is incredibly underrated in this draft. I think he kind of compares to Casey Mize. He's good. He might take a little time to develop, but I still think that letting him develop is going to be more than worth it with how good that he's going to be, in my opinion. I think that he's going to be a really, really good player. Not to mention that he has good changeup, good curveball, and especially the slider is what people are really hyping up for Jackson Jobe. And like I said, Rockies, please don't take him. You literally have no point. They're just not going to be good. With the 10th selection, the New York Mets are on the board, and they select, with this 10th selection, a pitcher out of Texas, and that's going to be Ty Madden. He comes from a college for the first pick in a while. Ty Madden pitched at Texas, and he was actually picked back in 2018 in the 34th round by the Kansas City Royals, but decided to go to college instead. 60 fastball for him, 60 slider, 55 control, 50 curveball, 55 changeup, 55 overall. I think that he's going to take a ton of time to develop. He's very raw right now. I think it is going to take some time for him to develop. They don't really know if he's going to be a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher right now. I see him more as a starting pitcher personally. But I feel like he's kind of a Mark Melancon as a starter type player. Obviously, he's going to throw from 93 to 96. And you would think he's MLB ready, but I think he's far away from being MLB ready as of right now. The Mets don't have to have him up right now. And the Mets, this is a little bit of a, I guess, risky pick, you could say. But I don't necessarily think so with how good Ty Madden's potential is. With the 11th selection, the Washington Nationals select Sam Buchman, a right-hander starting pitcher out of Miami College in Ohio. And for Sam Batchman, this guy is a little underrated too. I think that he definitely, I've seen this mocked quite a bit too. I had this mock before I ever really looked at him, but looked at the mock drafts that have them really. But so Sam Batchman is he has a great fastball, 70 fastball. He's a fastball slider pitcher, 65 slider, 50 control, 55 changeup, and a 55 overall player. And Miami, Ohio has produced a lot of big league pitchers before, and he sits at 94 to 97 and even hits 101 at points. He will need a little bit of development, but I think if a team like the Nationals can develop him well, this could be a really, really good pick for them at number 11. At number 12, the Seattle Mariners select Matt Mclean, a second baseman out of UCLA. Matt Mclean is a shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, third baseman. Very versatile. In 2018, he was actually a first-round pick by the Arizona Diamondbacks with the 25th overall pick. He's got a 60 hit, 60 run, 50 field, 50 power, 60 arm, and a 55 overall player. And he was kind of a bit of a late riser as the 2018 draft approached. But I think that Mclean is going to be a really solid hitter. I think he kind of compares to a Whit Merrifield type player to me. Player that's going to hit for a high average, not particularly a lot of power, but maybe could develop that power with the right team. And the Mariners in their future need help on the infield. And Matt Mclean, who better? He could play shortstop, he could play second base, he could play basically anywhere but first base. And he could even play center field, which they're not going to need. I've seen some mock drafts with them going outfielders. No, they're not doing that. With the 13th selection, the Philadelphia Phillies select Sal Frelick, an outfielder from Boston College. A lot of people are high on Sal Frelick or very low on him. They just either like him or just don't like him. Sal Frelick is a guy that's going to hit for a high average. He's going to hit for a high average, obviously, 60 hit, 70 run, 55 field, 45 power, and a 50 arm, and a 55 overall player. And I mean, he batted .367 at Boston College, but he had a knee injury in his freshman year. But he's really moved up draft boards in 2021. And with the Phillies needing outfield help, Sal Frelick could be a really good choice here. With the 14th selection, the San Francisco Giants select Jordan Wicks, a left-handed pitcher from Kansas State. And with the Giants here, I knew that they were going to be selecting pitcher. I knew I was going to mock them selecting a pitcher. And Jordan Wicks is definitely possibly that player. 55 fastball, 55 slider, 55 control, 45 curveball. Needs to work on that curveball. Changeup, 65, and an overall player of a 55. Kansas State has actually never had a first-round pick, so he's actually going to make history being that first-round pick. In a shortened 2020 season, he had a 0.52 ERA. I definitely compare this guy to Julio Urias. He looks a lot like Julio Urias. And with the way the Giants have been developing pitching as of late, this would be a very good pick. Next, with the 15th selection, the Milwaukee Brewers select Andrew Painter, a right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher out of Florida, Calvary Christian High School in Florida. This would be a phenomenal pick, I think. And I think any team that could get him right here would be feeling very, very good about themselves. 60 fastball, 50 slider, 55 control, 55 curveball, 55 changeup, and a 50 overall player. And yes, he's raw definitely, and he's going to take some time to develop. But the Brewers have to develop pitching pretty well. And for the future, he could be a possible number 3 in that rotation behind Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns. That could definitely be a possibility. And Andrew Painter, I think, definitely could be the steal of this draft in the first round. Next, with the 17th selection, the Miami Marlins select Joe Maca, a catcher out of Williamsville East High School in New York. And this may be seen as a little bit of a reach for Joe Mack, but I still think that it's a realistic pick. His ranking position on MLB.com is currently 18. And he's got a 55 hit, 40 run, obviously, as a catcher, 50 field, 50 power, 60 arm, and a 50 overall player. For the Marlins here, they need a catcher for the future. I think that this could definitely be a solid pick for them. With the 19th selection, the Cincinnati Reds select Anthony Zamato, a left-handed pitcher from Bishop. I don't know how to pronounce that, New Jersey. He is currently ranked 20th on MLB.com. He's in the 90 to 94 range, and he's committed to North Carolina. And 55 fastball, 50 changeup, 50 overall player, 55 slider, and a 55 control. He gets comparisons to Bumgarner or Mackenzie Gore, which obviously, with those comparisons, you really like that as a Cincinnati Reds fan. Now, with the 19th selection, the St. Louis Cardinals select Colton Cowser, an outfielder from Sam Houston. Yes, he falls a little bit in this draft. MLB.com has him ranked at 10. I'm just not that big of a fan of Colton Cowser. Like, I just don't see what people are raving about him so much about. But he's a 60 hit, 60 run, 55 field, 50 power, 50 arm, and a 55 overall player. Like, I just don't think he's as good as people hype him up to be. Next, at number 20, the Toronto Blue Jays select Ryan Cousic, a pitcher, college, Wake Forest. And for Ryan Cousic here, he is currently ranked 24th. He's going to be pretty ready. But he had a 6.44 ERA as a freshman. Not very good. He improved a lot. He's got a 70 fastball, 50 slider, 45 control, 55 curveball, 50 changeup, and a 50 overall player. He's definitely going to have to work on a second pitch-ish, but he's as high as 102. And the Blue Jays, I think this would be a perfect fit for a team that needs relief pitching. It's not the starting pitching that they need, it's relief pitching. With the 21st selection, this might be the steal of the draft, is Bubba Chandler, a pitcher/shortstop, another player out of Georgia in North Acano High School in Georgia. And Bubba Chandler is going to go to the Yankees here. This is literally the last thing the Yankees need here, pitcher/shortstop. This is just not good. But as far as he goes here, as far as hitting, 45 hit, 55 run, 55 field, 50 power, and a 70 arm. The 70 arm kind of really shows how he's a pitcher. Pitching, 60 fastball, 50 slider, 50 control, 55 curveball, 50 changeup, and a 50 overall player. This is the last thing the Yankees need. He definitely is going to be a really good player, I think. Now, with the next pick in the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft, with the 21st selection, the Chicago Cubs select Benny Montgomery, an outfielder from Redland High School in Pennsylvania. And for Benny Montgomery, I know outfielders have kind of fallen in this draft, but like that's kind of, I guess, the theme of this, but whatever. 45 hit, 70 run, 60 field, 55 power, and a 60 arm and a 50 overall prospect for him. He's committed to Virginia. I still think he's probably going to the draft. We're going to kind of move quicker through these next ones. With the 22nd selection, the Chicago White Sox, the other team in Illinois, selects Peyton Stovall, second baseman, high school, Houghton in Louisiana. With the 23rd selection, the Cleveland baseball team select Josiah Baez, an outfielder from Dexter Southfield in Massachusetts, a high school. Next, at number 24, the Atlanta Braves select Michael McGreeve, a right-handed pitcher out of UC Santa Barbara. Next, with the 25th selection, the Oakland Athletics select Gunnar Hoechlin, a pitcher from Mississippi State. This guy had Tommy John. That's why he is kind of fallen down in draft boards recently. With the 26th selection, the Minnesota Twins select Chase Petty, a right-handed pitcher out of New Jersey Mainland High School in New Jersey. With the 28th selection, the San Diego Padres select Judd Feynman, an outfielder from Florida. With the 29th selection, the Tampa Bay Rays select Will Bednar, a right-handed pitcher from Mississippi State. This guy could definitely be a steal of the draft, especially with the way Rays develop pitching. And he was really good if you watch the game versus Vanderbilt as well. With the final pick of the 2021 Major League Baseball first round, the Los Angeles Dodgers select Colson Montgomery, a third baseman from Southridge High School in Indiana. So yeah, that is going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications, because like I said, 88% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead and get your life together, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and